Hey, and welcome back to the podcast. We promised you guys a video guest, and we got you a video guest. We have EKU offensive lineman Tom Tabur.
What's up,
guys?
Tom, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Hey, thanks for having me.
You stoked? I'm
pumped.
stoked. I say that too much. I'm pumped, man. Happy to have you here.
So we had Adam Valiga on as our first guest of the week. He's from Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
You're from Boston, the Worcester area.
Oh, yeah.
Just talk about growing up in Boston. What's that atmosphere?
So I grew up like an hour away from Boston. So I lived in Northbridge. It was a suburb of Worcester, but honestly, it was really awesome. Like we had a vacation home up in New Hampshire and stuff. Like in the mountains, we'd go there every summer. There's a big lake there. Then we'd go skiing in the mountains in the winter. And then honestly, like my location, Northbridge, is pretty convenient because we're only like an hour away from the beach.
That's cool.
Then there's a ton of beaches. Like I gotta say, my favorite one is definitely Second Beach out in Newport, Rhode Island.
Okay.
That's the one that takes me an hour to get there. So I mean, there's a lot to do.
For sure. That's awesome. It's good to hear. So, you're from Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Typically people from Boston, they like Boston teams, right?
Should be.
What about you, Tom? What do you
Well,
like?
believe it or not, I am actually a huge San Francisco 49ers fan.
There you go.
And football is really the only sport I follow, so that's really my only team. And I'm not really a big Patriot fan.
So, yeah, I kind of wanted to ask you, I'll just kind of dive into this. So, besides football, did you play any other sports, like growing up or anything like that?
Yeah, so when I was a kid, the first thing I did, I was actually a swimmer when I was 7.
Okay.
Yeah, the Whitensville Blue Dolphins. That team doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, okay.
But, I was a swimmer.
Was it like a club team, like a club swim team or something?
Something like that. And,
Yeah,
we did swim meets and stuff. Like I remember doing like a couple out in the Cape. I think I did some in Springfield when I was
cool.
really young.
Huh.
And I was pretty awful. Like I would usually finish last. There was one time where I actually did finish first, but I don't know what happened to the other kids.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
like up there, isn't hockey really big?
yeah. I mean, it's
So you
pretty
didn't
big,
even-
especially at at the prep school level and stuff. I never really got into it though. Some other sports, I played 1 year of basketball. That did not go so well either. I scored 2 points the entire season.
Yeah, I think we've all watched you shoot a ball when we have team activities.
That's kind of how basketball.
Yeah, if you ask Graham Ashkettle, he'll talk to you about my layup.
Graham Ashkettle, maybe future guest.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, maybe one day.
And then I played baseball as well up until 8th grade or so.
Gotcha.
So I want to know how you got into the 49ers. So, I'm a Patriots fan, but I'm from Northeast Ohio. So I just want to know, being from Boston, how do you go all the way to the West Coast?
So I was about 4 years old, and I remember I wasn't even watching a game. I was playing a video game called NFL Quarterback Club.
Okay.
And the best quarterback in that game was Steve Young. And I immediately became a fan, and I was able to watch him actually for a little bit. But then, as soon as I started liking him, he actually ended up getting injured in the 1999 season.
Yeah.
And it ended up being career ending.
Yeah.
So that was rough, but I stuck with the Niners, and I've been a Niners fan ever since. I mean, it's been pretty rough. I mean, there was a span, where
Pretty rough.
they had 9 straight losing seasons when I was in elementary school all the way up to high school, and kids would make fun of me a lot for being a 49ers fan.
Well, especially in the area, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
Being a 49ers fan in Boston.
They're so spoiled. They're so spoiled because the Patriots have won so many championships. They're always competitive, and my Niners they had 3 years of excellence and then nothing.
They're getting better though.
Yep.
Promising year this year, maybe with
Richard
Jimmy
Sherman.
G. So we'll have to see. I'm excited to see them.
Oh yeah.
That's good though. That's good.
So, you're being really exact with all these football numbers and everything. I just want to know, you love football, but what's your talent is what I'm trying to get at.
What is my talent?
Yeah.
Are you looking for a secret talent?
Possibly.
It could be secret.
I mean, I can tell you who played and won in every single Super Bowl.
Ethan, throw out a number.
35.
35. That was a bad one. That was between the Baltimore Ravens and the New York Giants. That was a blowout. That was basically all Ravens defense. Ray Lewis was the MVP.
You got a number, Tuck?
16.
So, thank you for asking. That was the Niners and Bengals.
Yeah. See, that's why.
Niners won that one 26-21. Joe Montana was the MVP. There was probably the most iconic moment in that one was a goal line stand, a goal line tackle by Dan Bunce to keep the Bengals out of the end zone.
That's
And
amazing.
allowing the Niners to win.
That's amazing.
That's
Last
impressive.
one. 51?
50. Oh, my God.
I'm just setting you up, Tom. We all know what happened. Super Bowl 51.
The Atlanta Falcons played 3 amazing quarters of football.
And then,
Let me tell you, complimentary football. 28-3, amazing job by Atlanta.
and then
Then we just don't even have to talk about the fourth quarter. That's
Oh,
okay, you know?
that's the best part, man.
So the Patriots somehow went home with the dub.
So I have to imagine your best friends are like back home are Patriots fans.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
So was your phone ever blowing up during that game or anything like that?
I mean, you know what? Surprisingly, not during Patriot games, but every time the Niners would lose in like a really clutch game, my phone would blow
Sounds
up.
like a typical Patriots fan.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, you know,
yeah.
Interesting. So, like, even if the Patriots weren't playing,
yeah, they would just crap all over me. Like
That's
Super Bowl
crazy.
47, I cannot tell you how bad that was. My
Jeez.
phone was blowing up.
I believe it.
It was like, ha ha ha, you
That
guys
is-
still lost.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of conspiracies behind that game.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, I still, firmly believe that Michael Crabtree was held in the end zone, and they should have had an automatic first down at the 1 yard line.
I think so.
That'd have been interesting.
It would have been really interesting, for sure.
Oh yeah.
And plus with Beyonce, her performance in the after with the lights going out.
Oh, yeah. The funny thing is, though, I remember the year before, I was watching the Niners on Monday Night Football. They were playing against Pittsburgh. Lights went out in like the first quarter at Candlestick Park. And,
Interesting.
yeah, I mean, ended up being a good game. Like, I remember staying up all night because they resumed it eventually.
Yeah.
And they really beat down the Steelers pretty good.
Dang. I didn't know that, actually.
So looking back on your past and everything, you grew up liking Steve Young. Looking at fair comparison, are you a Montana guy or a Young guy?
I mean, I'm always going to say Steve Young. I mean,
Okay.
like, the numbers speak for themselves, too. Like, Steve Young, like, statistically, he had better numbers than Montana. But, I mean, Montana is still
Yeah.
going to always be considered the greatest
That's the
quarterback for the
Yeah.
49ers, and
Yeah.
if not, the NFL.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up there. Well, I mean, when it's all said and done, we'll have to see.
Yeah, him and Brady, we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I like Steve Young better than Joe Montana too, though. But it's just personal preference, I guess.
Yeah. Ethan, you have a favorite?
No, I don't know enough about two.
You don't know about Joe Montana or Steve
I know
Young?
they were good, and they played for the 49ers.
Joe Montana.
Joe Montana.
Which one was the throw, and he caught it in the back of the end zone, the catch?
That was Joe Montana.
That was Joe Montana, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Joe Montana, Dwight Clark.
He just passed away.
He just passed away recently. Sad stuff.
Unfortunate. Yep.
So early on, you had like you're obviously in shape.
Yes.
So it seems like you have like a love for fitness and doing probably like 6 to 7 days a week. So can you just tell me where that comes from?
Yeah, so, I mean, believe it or not, it wasn't always there. It really started like my freshman year of high school. I was, middle school, man, I was fat, out of shape. I was bullied,
Dang.
Yeah, kids gave me a hard time when I was in middle school. And then freshman year, I told my dad, like, hey, man, I want to play, football in college. And he's like, well, you got to get in the weight room, man,
Yeah.
because you're pretty weak and you're fat and out of shape. So, yeah, I mean, I started going to the gym with my dad. Like, he was in charge of all my workouts pretty much. And then actually, so the goal was initially just to get me to start on my high school varsity team,
Yeah.
which I eventually accomplished my sophomore year.
Yeah.
So it only took 1 year in the weight room to allow that to happen.
Get
That's
right.
crazy.
So for my 16th birthday, my dad gave me one of those, those speed sleds that we use, like the DBs
Yeah.
use and
Yeah.
stuff. So he gave me one of those, but I had to put like 2 plates on there, and then our driveway was on a big hill. So I had to run, I ran those every single day to like get in shape. And let me tell you, man, it killed me. Like
Yeah.
in the summer, uphill, 2 plates on that thing.
I'm sure that's.
And I would have to go full sprint, and like that that really kicked my butt. And then my dad, he was not going easy on me.
Of
in the
course,
weight room.
yeah.
But I eventually loved what I was doing, and then I would take over sometimes. I'd be like, "Hey, Dad, I saw this on the internet today, or someone showed me this today."
That's
And
awesome.
then, after a year, I started getting stronger than my dad, and he was like, "Wow, I can't keep up with him anymore." So that was pretty awesome.
That's awesome. So like just kind of talking about that, the background, and now let's kind of move into what do you want to do after college, and what's your current interest now? What's your major, and what do you want to do with it, and where do you see yourself in the future?
So right now I'm actually a history major.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense with the Super Bowl numbers.
Yeah, I've just always loved history, ever since middle school and stuff. It's been my best subject, my favorite subject,
Yeah.
and when I was thinking, what should I study in college? It just made sense. It just felt like I would, be very successful choosing that.
No doubt.
The funny thing is, I actually want to get into coaching.
Yeah.
So it really has nothing to do with that major.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches in the high school level are actually history teachers.
Yep.
So
They're just a lot of coaches are just different majors that you probably wouldn't expect. My high school coach was biology major.
Exactly.
It doesn't make to do coaching. I feel like you don't really have to.
Yeah.
But still.
You just have to have the experience in the game that you're
to
coaching.
love the game and stuff like that.
What level of coaching do you want to get into?
I would love to be involved in college.
Cool.
That would be ideal.
More
strength coach.
Yeah, more. Would you want to be more positional towards football, or would you like to be a strength guy?
I'm kind of half and half right now.
Okay.
I mean, a couple years ago, it was definitely all strength. I just wanted to be a strength conditioning
100%.
coach. But now, I mean, I'd say in the past year or so, it's changed quite a bit, because now I'm thinking I want a GA, but where would I have the best opportunity? GAing in the weight room, or GAing, with the
Exactly.
offensive line, or even
I don't think that's really
guess.
brought up enough, to be honest. I've never heard that dynamic of strength versus position coaching, and how big of a deal that can be.
I mean, so one of my strength coaches at UConn, he came in with the new coaching staff. He was actually a D-line coach before he decided, hey, I want to coach in the weight room.
Yeah.
So he was doing that before he became a strength coach.
I mean, that's interesting. I don't normally, you don't normally hear people, like you were saying, you don't normally hear people be like, oh, well, I don't know if I want to be a DN's coach, which you wouldn't coach DN's. No offense. You'd coach defensive tackles,
Those guards, yeah.
Those guards.
Oh, yeah.
Zero techs.
Toe technique.
And to counterbalance that, to be just a strictly strength coach, like Coach Naylor is, or John Mike was, or something like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely cool and definitely interesting for sure. So, that's exciting.
So with being a history major, you're good with remembering Super Bowls, but you're also good with presidents, right?
Yes.
So in
Do
what
you want
way?
me to tell you all of them in order right now?
Do it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I dare you.
Oh, do you double dog dare me?
Double dog. Yeah.
Double dog dare you
All right,
to
ready?
name all the presidents.
As fast as you
Washington,
can.
Adams, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, Quincy Adams, Jackson, Van Buren, Harrison, Tyler, Polk, Taylor, Fillmore, Pierce, Buchanan, Lincoln, Johnson, Grant, Hayes, Garfield, Arthur, Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland, McKinley,
Hey!
Roosevelt, Taft, Wilson, Harding, Coolidge, Hoover, Roosevelt, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter,
There you go.
Reagan, Clinton. Oh, wait, no, Bush, my bad. Bush, Clinton, and then Bush, Obama, Trump, Tucker Schroeder.
I'm mad at Kanye.
Wow, that was impressive.
That was impressive indeed.
It's been a while since I've done that.
But hey,
Jeez.
only one hiccup though, which is good.
Yep, one
We'll
hiccup.
give you a
I
freebie
caught
on that
myself.
one.
I caught myself.
We'll give you a freebie on that.
Mulligan.
Mulligan.
So you're here at EKU. How'd you get here? This isn't your first stop.
Nope, no, it is not. So I made
So
a
you're
couple
from
stops before
Couple
EKU.
stops.
So coming out of high school, I didn't have a single scholarship offer. So actually going back on that, so my goal was always, since I was 15 or 16, I want to play college football, but I only want to play Division I. Mm-hmm. So, whether that be FBS or FCS. So, I mean, it's kind of wrong of me, like, kind of looking back at it now, because, like, I did have some, like, Division 2s and Division 3s looking at me and stuff, and, like, it probably would have been better financially to do that.
No, for sure, yeah.
And then, I never even considered, like, JUCOs or anything.
Yeah.
And then, so I didn't have a single Division I scholarship offer coming out of high school. So I actually decided to go prep school at Worcester Academy. And the thing is, like, most people go to prep school because, like, they got injured their senior year or they just don't have the grades, to qualify for Division I. I strictly went there because I didn't have any offers. And I was like, and the coach there at Worcester Academy, Tony Johnson, he told me, like, hey, man, like, you're a guy that's going to be playing, like, Conference USA or, like, the American. And, like, he was right because, like, eventually I did end up at UConn. Unfortunately, I was a preferred walk-on there. But the coaches there, like, Coach Diaco, like, he really valued his walk-ons. Like, you could tell right away. And, he sent initially this Mike Foley. He was the O-line coach there. He was recruiting me. He got fired before, the recruiting process was over. So Mike Cummings became the O-line coach, and then he took up the recruiting on me. And, so they actually recruited me to play D-line there, believe it or not. And so I went in as a D-lineman, and, they really valued their walk-ons. And, like, you really couldn't tell the difference between a walk-on or a scholarship player. Because, like, the day I got put on scholarship and they announced it to the team, I had a couple of kids come up to me, and they're like, dude, I never knew.
That's awesome, though.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
And, like, we had some walk-ons, like, one in particular, Teddy Almendinger, he started his freshman year and stuff like that.
Really?
So, like, that goes to show you that walk-ons have a chance, and, like, you have a chance to compete. Mm-hmm. That was under Coach Diaco there.
That's awesome, man. That's
Especially
awesome
just looking from, like, a national point of view with Baker Mayfield winning the Heisman.
Mm-hmm.
He was a former two-time walk-on. Like,
yep.
It's crazy.
Well, it's also cool to hear that, like, you kind of took, like, a more, like, unconventional route to get here. Like,
the most unconventional.
For, like, if you hear something like that, like, it's typically like a JUCO, like Adam Valiga, we had him on, JUCO guy. Mm-hmm. But, like, you don't normally hear someone from, like, a prep school or something like that. Like, that was the first time I've heard, like, someone that I've knew and gotten super close with, like, come from, like, a prep school or something like that. But it's awesome because, you're here now and it's like, it's great. And, like, you got your chance and you took it. So it's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then, so I ended up here because, first of all, they rewarded walk-ons. Like, if you gave your all for the team and everything, Coach Diaco was going to give you a scholarship. Mm-hmm. So I've watched him, like, give, I want to say 5 people scholarships.
Yeah.
Before he eventually gave me one. And, like, the moment he told me I was on scholarship, he said, like, look, like, you've done your time. Like, you did 2 years. You've been riding the bench for 2 years, but you've been working your tail off. Your first year you redshirted. Your second year you made the travel squad, and you were getting reps with the 2s for the majority of the season.
Yeah.
And, he's like, but now, I want to move you back to D-line because I got moved to O-line before my first camp there. So he's like, I want to move you back to D-line, and next season I want you splitting reps at nose guard with this kid Kevin Murphy. Mm-hmm. So that was initially the plan. Unfortunately, about a month after I got put on scholarship, Coach Diaco and his staff was fired. Mm-hmm. So they cleaned house. They brought in an entire brand new coaching staff. So the guy that came in, kind of had a weird feeling about him when he first got in. He said, like, look, we're a family. I'm going to treat you guys like family and stuff. I'm going to take care of you and stuff. So, like, we were all like, yeah, I kind of believe that, hopefully.
It was like one of those things you probably just knew. You were like, yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, we kind of got a bad vibe, like, at first. Like you could tell. So we didn't do so well the previous season. So the year that we lost our coaching staff, we started out the season 3-3, 500. Okay, so we had the chance to make a bowl game, but we ended up losing 6 straight games to finish out the season.
Yeah.
So that was definitely pretty hard, and, like, I feel like, the new coaching staff kind of resented us. They thought that when they looked at us, all they saw was a losing culture and everything. So they wanted to bring in their their own guys and stuff. So it eventually got to the point, spring ball's over. I went through the whole spring with this new coaching staff. I'm going into my exit meeting with the head coach, and I was actually like the second guy on the team to have their exit meeting. It was like 7:30 in the morning on a Monday. And then he tells me, like, look, you had a really good spring. We love your effort. You give it all every play, but, we're taking you off a scholarship. And, like honestly, that crushed me.
Yeah. I'm sure.
It's like, I was so used to being a walk-on, like having nothing at all. And, like, I gave my all for UConn. And, I busted my butt every single day, I did it, like, for my parents, too, and stuff. It was tough to afford. I was paid out of state,
that's how it is. I think that's kind of how we all are, That's why one of the big reasons I really cherish playing football is because, like, my parents, they don't have to worry about anything.
Exactly.
Like, I'm up here, I'm getting a good education, and I'm doing what I love, so I know that makes them happy, but it makes me happy to know, like, hey, I'm kind of doing this for them, so it's sweet, and I get what you're coming from on that.
Mm-hmm. Like, the biggest thing that stood out to me when that happened was, I just remember the moment I called my dad, telling him, like, hey, Dad, I got put on scholarship, like, just how excited he was, and then to a few months later, like, be like, Dad, you're not going to believe this, they took away my scholarship, and they didn't even give me a reason why, like, I did nothing wrong. So that was tough, and I wasn't the only guy. They took two of the walk-ons that I actually came in with. We were all on the same official visit. They had been rewarded with scholarships as well by Coach Diaco. They were taken off a scholarship as well.
It's crazy.
And actually one of them decided to stay, but the other one's at Kansas State now. He's on full scholarship at Kansas State.
That's awesome.
He even scored a touchdown in their spring game this past year.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's really cool.
Like, when people say football is a business, I think people just got kind of like shoo it off. Like,
it really is.
It really is a business.
Well, just like looking more in general, like college football. It's like easy to look at it and be like, oh, they're just a couple kids on scholarship and they're just out there playing football to get their school paid for or whatever. Like the logistics of it and everything, what a lot of people don't see, and like I'm not gonna get into all that, but still, like, there's so much to it that just people don't really know about. And I definitely didn't realize how much went into it, like, before I got here.
Right.
And now that I'm here, I'm like, wow, like it's kind of crazy. So.
What was your road to EKU after that then?
So after that, it wasn't looking too hot at first, let me tell you. Like, I was thinking, like, wow, I'm not going to get a scholarship anywhere. Like, I'm probably done playing football. So actually, the day I lost my scholarship, probably the third person I called was Tim Boyle. I didn't call him, I texted him. But he was the third person I talked to that day. And, Tim was at UConn before he came to EKU. And, Tim and I had known each other. We were there for a semester together before he decided to transfer. And, like, we kind of clicked right away. Like, he was in the same lifting group as me my freshman year, like, for summer, like the whole summer. So he got to know who I was and stuff, and, like, he was a great leader, and, like, he brought everyone with him. And, like, I was like, Tim was a really good guy. He's at EKU. I'm gonna reach out to him, see what if he can help me, like, any way at all. And so he said, so I told him what was going on. I'm like, yeah, Tim, looking for a new place to go. And he said, all right, I'm going to go talk to Coach Elder right now and see what we can do. And then only 2 weeks later, I get a call from Coach Elder, telling me, like, hey, we're going to give you a full scholarship and we want you to come in right away.
Sweet, man.
So I ended up at EKU.
And here's Tom Tabur right here.
The funny part was I was actually supposed to go on a visit here first. But in that phone call with Elder, he's like, you don't even have to visit here. You trust Tim. Tim's a good friend of yours. Just take his word for it. Just come down, see what happens.
But the thing is though, is like I would trust Tim though too. So
yeah.
That's just an awesome story, and now you're here, and it's like we like super good friends with you. Like, you're a brother of mine, and like it's just awesome. So to hear, like, I remember when you first told me that story, I was just amazed. So like I feel like when people hear that, like it should always be encouraged and stuff like that.
Such a journey.
Yeah. The struggle, but like it was like the struggle, and then like you got there, and then it was just like I don't know. I was like when you first told me that, I was like, dang, like that's crazy. And then now you're back and you're killing it. And honestly, you're killing it. Like I look up to you every day in the weight room. Like we're lifting partners.
Yeah, we are lifting partners.
So it's just I love having you around, and it's awesome. So.
Well, I love being on the same team as you guys. Like you guys are
for sure
definitely my closest friends, without a doubt.
Yep.
And
there you go, Dalton.
And yeah, I mean, like it's it is something like I live with every day. Like I will never feel like a scholarship player. Like I will always have that like walk on mentality and stuff. Like I was overlooked in my recruiting. And like I was just to have everything taken away from me after I worked so hard for it. I never forget that. And like last season, that motivated me through the entire season. And like like to thinking in May last year, I was thinking like I might never ever play football again.
Yeah.
To actually getting the chance to start 6 games last year. That was unbelievable. And especially like a big moment for me. Like was. Definitely playing, against the University of Kentucky. Like, look, man, like
that was huge.
They told you, like I'm just thinking, like all these people told you were nothing, and now you're playing against an SEC school, the best conference in the entire country.
And you played a good game, though.
Oh yeah,
you played a real good game. So, no, that was cool. I mean, that was a surreal moment just for me because I was just out there. I was just on the sideline out there, but still,
SEC man,
it was crazy. That was nuts. So yeah, for sure. I definitely wanted to talk about your story a little bit and let people know about that. So that's cool.
How's the culture shift been from the Northeast coming down to not Southern Kentucky, but just the South in general?
It's been a little different.
Yeah,
I love Kentucky.
That's for sure.
I love Kentucky.
I've met some very interesting people, and I've seen some very interesting food.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Like, is there like one time where you can think of like we asked Adam the same question and he said like, what was he doing? Like he was just walking around Walmart or something.
Oh, what did he say exactly?
The Richmond Walmart.
Yeah. The guy had like a strap on him. To his
head.
Yeah,
he was talking about like how like people just walk around with guns on their hips all the time.
Oh my God, yeah, I see that all the time. The first time I saw that, I think was in Jackson's restaurant.
It's just crazy.
I was like, he's not allowed to do that. What's going on?
Yeah,
right.
Because in Massachusetts, it has to be concealed.
It's one of the few states where you can have it just out.
It's just out there.
Barber here has one on this side.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah,
I feel like you're out in the old West or something.
Yeah. And then the thing. So I drive a white Pontiac G6, and like I'm usually the only Pontiac G6 I ever see in Massachusetts. Here in Richmond,
so many of them.
I swear I see like 5 different white G6s every single day.
Remember the day it was like before it was like during camp, and I forget
there were 5 white Pontiacs next to each other.
Yeah, we parked by Alumni Coliseum, and there was literally 2 parked right next to us, and there was like 2 on the other side. It was like the same exact car, just right next to each other. It was crazy.
So you say the food.
Yeah.
What's your favorite food here and back home?
Well, I mean, here it's pretty much the same as back home, but I mean, like the interesting food that like I discovered.
Yeah.
Biscuits and gravy.
Oh, wow.
But it's not just gravy, it's white gravy.
So, okay, wait.
White gravy. I've never had biscuits and gravy.
You've never had biscuits and gravy until you got here?
Yeah.
That is
I don't
incredible.
know, Tom. I've had it back home.
That's
You're
incredible.
from Ohio,
That's
man.
from Ohio, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Really? But you said white gravy. Like what? You've had biscuits and brown gravy or something?
No. Like
or you just never heard of white gravy?
Like every time I had gravy, it was always brown gravy.
Brown gravy.
I
was
thought that was
mashed potatoes.
I was like, that's the only gravy, right?
Wow.
And then I see the stuff on my biscuit one day because they're like, yeah, that comes with biscuits and gravy. I'm like, okay, cool. I've never had that before. And then I just see like this white goo all over my food, and I'm like, what is this?
And then you tried it.
And I tried it. I'm gonna end it there.
Not a fan.
No, but like that's how it is at Cracker Barrel. Like if they'll just say biscuits, but you get gravy with your biscuits.
Yes, exactly.
So like,
I see people like put jelly in their biscuits too.
Really, that's new for you?
I mean, I've just never seen anyone do that before.
I put jelly in my biscuits.
I do that all the time.
And honey.
What? I never
Settle
put
down,
jelly.
Dalton.
I never put jelly in my biscuits.
Really?
I just eat it
You
straight.
put honey?
I do honey.
I do honey.
I'll put honey on like my Chick-fil-A biscuits. That's good.
I mean, Chick-fil-A biscuits are good. Wait,
Yeah,
you
but
put chicken?
like you put honey on the
Then
biscuit.
you rip and dip it.
and you rip it and dip it.
So you're saying with the chicken, right?
Yeah, with the chicken, like everything, the whole wham bam. Thank you, ma'am.
Whoa.
I'm more of a ketchup guy on mine.
On your chicken biscuit?
On my chicken
All right,
biscuit.
we're done.
From
No,
Chick-fil-A, you gotta put
We're moving
ketchup
on.
We're done with
Ketchup
this.
is gross.
Ugh. On the chicken,
out.
on the chicken biscuit?
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
That's gross.
Oh, but
All right, so
jam isn't?
trying to get this back on track.
All right.
Were there any words that you had to stop saying once you got to Kentucky because no one knew what you were talking about?
Yeah. Okay. So you know how like at the restaurant they're like, oh, you want a drink with that? Mm-hmm. So I say no, I'm all set. I don't even say no. I'm like I'm all set. And then they're always like, what? I'm all set. What? No, thank you.
Yeah, so like they don't know what
they
I'm all
don't-
set.
A lot of people here don't understand what I'm all set means and stuff. And like actually, funny story. So Katie came up to Massachusetts with me. And we were getting gas in New York, and New York is all full service, so someone has to pump your gas for you. And the guy was like directing Katie, telling her to back up. And then he was like, "You're good, you're good." She kept going. She didn't understand what he meant by that.
Wow.
Yeah,
She's from Kentucky.
she's from Kentucky.
I can see where she gets that. Like you're good. Like maybe you have enough space so you're good. But then like I get it too. Like stop.
No,
Yeah.
she meant like because he was like directing her like, "Oh yeah, turn the wheel that way" and stuff like that. So she was like straightened out and stuff, and then he said, "You're good." So I knew like, yeah, you need to stop. But she kept going. I guess she thought like, he's saying, yeah, the car's at the perfect angle. You're good. Keep going.
Yeah.
But like he kept yelling at me. He's like, "You're good. You're good. You're good."
So like to keep going on with the up north stuff, like if you were gonna hit the water fountain.
I'd say I'm gonna go to get a drink from the bubbler.
Okay.
From the bubbler.
What do you call your shopping carts? Just shopping
Just
cart?
carts.
See, like I hear, like some people from up north call them buggies, though.
No, that's a southern thing. That's a southern.
How is that a southern thing?
That's south.
Being from Florida, I have never heard someone say
Colin
buggy.
always
Is
calls
Florida
it.
really part of the South?
Florida's part of the South.
Sanchez's.
It's a bunch of old white people.
Whatever. Florida's from the South.
Maybe we might have the Sanchez's on the podcast soon.
Oh,
Both of them
man.
together. I don't know if we have enough
Is it
room on this
soda?
table.
Yes, sir.
Soda, pop, or Coke?
I call it soda.
But you call it pop, right?
I call it pop.
Where someplace people like call it Coke? Like, oh,
South.
what kind of Coke do you want?
Coke. Like it'll just be like,
Coke.
yeah. You'll hear that. You hear that a lot in Florida. It's
Well-
like, you want some? Can I have a Coke, please? And it's like, oh, what type?
Yeah.
Tom, you're technically from the south.
So yes, believe it or not, I was born in Huntsville, Alabama.
Gosh.
But my whole family is from Massachusetts. I guess this is news to Dalton. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's been
So I only lived there for like a couple of years, like the first couple of years of my life, and then when I was 3, we ended up in Massachusetts and lived there ever since.
It's interesting because you don't really have a thick Boston accent. Like when I think of Bostonians, I just think of like massholes.
Yeah.
Like,
So the thing is, so my mom grew up in Everett, which is right outside of Boston. She has probably one of the worst Boston accents I've ever heard.
Mama Tabes.
Mama Tapes. And my dad, he grew up around Worcester, actually. He grew up in Harvard, so it's in Worcester County. And he talks like I do. So I end up my whole family pretty much talk like my dad. And, I mean, but we do have really good Boston accents because we impersonate my mom all the time.
Impersonations?
So, yes, and you've seen me, we obviously do
Yeah.
a lot of Boston accents.
Oh, yeah.
together.
Oh yeah, brother.
okay, just do the whole run through. Okay,
The
let's
whole
start with
run
Canada.
through?
Oh,
Talk about the Great Cup.
yeah, so, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, they're going to win the Grey Cup. They're playing the Toronto Argonauts. Oh, you betcha.
I'm more of an Edmonton guy for sure.
Oh, yeah. Have you ever went pike fishing up in Edmonton?
No,
No?
I've never seen them over there by the
Oh.
house though. There's a couple, but I've never gone.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you betcha.
For sure, brother. Up there in Manitoba.
Oh, Manitoba.
That's the Canadian boy.
How about the Boston?
So I'll be like, hey, Tucker, get another set in, guy. Come on, Tucker.
Hey, have you talked to Bobby recently?
Bobby or Babby?
Bobby.
He's talking about Babby.
Bobby. Who we
Bobby?
talking about? You talking about Bobby?
Babby, you play for the Green Bay Packers.
No. Bobby.
Oh, Babby.
Yes, Babby.
His wife, Babby.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, how about Southern?
How y'all do?
I can't do it as well as you can.
All right. So there's this one time here in Richmond. I think this was this was just the funniest thing I've ever seen. So this really old like truck is next to me on the bypass, and we're at a red light, and this his engine is smoking like crazy. Rolls down his window. I had my window rolled down. He looks at me, and I'm just like looking there in shock, and he's just like, he looks at me, and he's like, "Tire's on fire, ain't it?"
What?
And I'm like, "Yeah, man." And he's like, "Well, shit." And he just drove up.
That's funny, man. That is funny.
Oh man.
Yeah, you do hear some character. You hear some different things here. Like I've heard some sayings that I've never heard.
Y'all
before.
play for Eastern?
Yeah, that's the typical one whenever you go into a restaurant.
Yeah.
But you have one impersonation that tops all of this. Do you want to explain it, Tom?
Would this happen to be my man David Miller?
It would.
All right. So usually David Miller, like whenever he's interviewing someone, he likes to go in with like the high handshake. You know, start out like that,
Yeah.
and then he'll be like, "David Miller, how's it going?" He'll be like, let's say he's interviewing, he's like, "I'm here with Tucker Schroeder here, offensive lineman for the Colonels." And then he'll be like, "What's Tucker Schroeder looking at Tucker Schroeder this year?"
What's going on, Tucker?
What's Tim Boyle looking at Tim Boyle this year? What's Chance Edwards looking at Chance Edwards this year? What's Kagan Skidmore looking at Kagan Skidmore this year? What's Austin Scott looking at Austin Scott? What, your first real year of competition in football? Appreciate your time. Thank you.
And my favorite thing is like he does like recaps of the games we do. So we're playing Tennessee Martin last year, and it's like I think it was the second half. We ended up doing like a pop fly kick so that we could recover it.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly what happened, and that's the end of the story, right? No. We're recapping the game. David Miller. He's like, "Lucas Williams gets the boys together." He's like, "All right, we're going to do some homecoming chicanery. Ready? Break."
Until that moment in time, I had no idea what chicanery meant.
No.
Well, for the longest, we thought it was shenanigans.
Yeah, and then we watched it again.
And then we
he
watched
said
it again. It
chicanery.
said chicanery. I was like, what is chicanery?
Homecoming shenanigans.
I was like,
Homecoming chicanery.
what is chicanery? And then
Hello, Colonel fans. David Miller here.
It's like the exact definition of shenanigans. So
Yeah.
I think after like this video, we'll play like a little clip just so the people at home know what we're talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's probably not as funny to them when they don't.
Yeah, they have no clue.
They have no idea.
Sports analyst.
Ensuing kickoff, Lucas Williams tees it up, turns around and says to his teammates, "All right, boys, it's time for some homecoming chicanery. Ready, break." The redshirt senior then turns his right foot into a pitching wedge as he chips this rainbow that hits the green with some backspin right into the hands of Matt Clark, and the fans love it.
For sure.
You have a love for pop music of the 70s and 80s and a little bit from the 90s too, Tom.
Yes.
I don't know if you like just being in the
I
car
pretty
with
much
you
love
sometimes.
everything. Yeah.
Like if you turn on the radio and there's like a Bee Gees song comes on, you're like word for word everything. So
You can't tell, but I'm looking.
There we go.
I mean, we were just singing Backstreet Boys like what
I
a
want
couple
it
days
that
ago.
way,
Yeah, big video.
Yep.
Which one do you think is your favorite? Like 70s, 80s, 90s?
Well, my all-time favorite song is "It's Tricky" by Run DMC.
Okay.
And that was like a hip-hop / like rock group.
Yep.
80s and 90s. It's tricky. Yep, and I can sing the entire song.
I'm not gonna dare you to do that. Tom.
Good.
Go.
You already pulled out the presidents for us. I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
do that to you.
Yeah.
And you also play a lot of PlayStation 2, which it's been out of service since I don't know since when.
It's been a while.
Like 06.
I just
You want to
05.
talk about the backstory behind that?
So, I mean, obviously I had a PS2 when I was a kid and stuff. I don't play video games anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, all through high school I stopped playing video games because I was just focused on working out, I guess. That was my new video game, I guess. And then, I guess up until, like, this summer, so my new roommate for the summer, Graham Ashkettle, brings his PS2 over, and he's got, we get Madden 04, which is, like, the classic Madden.
It's the one with Mike Vick on it,
The one
right?
with Mike
Vick,
Vick on the
that-
cover.
that
He's
is-
the best. He is the best player in the game. You cannot beat him.
He's the best. He might be the best, like, individual to be put in Madden.
ever.
About, like, that's, like, the best player.
Like it's like, just throwback Michael Vick, Falcons.
Yeah.
Back when he was just electric.
Yeah.
And like, there's this play there. It's just Falcons quarterback sweep. He scores every single time.
It's unstoppable.
It's like a cheat code.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And then Graham also brought some of the other classics, Battlefront and Battlefront 2.
That's
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Those are the best.
That was kind of the center of my. I played a lot of NFL Street.
NFL Street. That is a classic.
I played a lot of NFL Street and NBA Street.
Street was the best.
And then it wasn't the best, but it was one of my favorites.
And then there was GTA Vice City and San Andreas.
See, my mom. You were probably a little older than me, but my mom would never let me play GTA when I was.
Dude, you were 8 years old playing
same with
GTA.
Yeah. So
I think the first GTA I got was 5.
never could play it. I was never allowed. Never allowed.
Until like 8th grade.
GTA 4.
Yeah.
The first one I got was GTA 5.
That was the first GTA I got, and that was the one I was. I just turned 17, and like she's like, my mom barely let me buy it. I was like, Mom. I was like, come on, I'm a senior in high school.
Yeah, I'm 18 years old.
I'm a senior in high school.
It says I have to be 17 to buy this. I'm 17.
Let me get this game, please.
I feel backwards from you guys because I didn't even start playing games until like I was like middle school, high school. I didn't get a gaming system.
Yeah, that's when I stopped.
8th grade. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always played. I've definitely slowed down for sure. I mean, obviously the Fortnite deal. Like I don't play all the time, but I play enough. Like I play some Fortnite, but for the most part, I don't play as much as I used to.
I don't play anymore, like, because in our apartment, it's in one of my roommates' rooms. So.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean,
now I just watch a lot of TV.
Yeah, I watch more TV and Netflix.
I watch a lot of Hulu and Netflix.
Now that like I'm here in college and like, I would rather watch TV and Netflix than like.
I'm just kind of tired. You don't want to.
Exactly.
It's too much thinking.
For sure.
Sounds so lazy.
But a little Madden 04.
Little Madden 04.
That might get me off the couch. I don't know.
What do you do in your free time, Tom?
Well, here, so this is the first summer where I haven't had a class.
Yeah.
And
I don't have a class either this summer, so like
it's been interesting.
Yeah, it's different.
I started taking up fishing.
There you go.
Lately. Mm-hmm. And it's been interesting to say the least.
Results?
I catch fish. I'm just not very good at maintenance.
Maintenance? What do you mean?
Like putting the hook on and everything?
Yeah.
It's like, do you know how to tie any knots? Like simple, you know how to tie some simple knots and stuff like that, right?
With the tiny fishing line? No.
Yeah.
No.
So who ties your knots and stuff?
Usually Chase or Katie or...
There you go. Well, at least you
Graham.
know you're getting into it, though.
Yep.
Can you take the fish off the hook?
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
Well, I use pliers, and I put the pliers in the fish, and then I kind of take it off.
Real question: do you touch the fish at all?
No.
I've lived at a lake my whole life, and I still don't like touching fish.
Really?
But I mean, there's only certain like if it's a clean catch, but like once it gets like if they swallow it or it's like a catfish.
I caught something.
I'm not
Not touching catfish.
Yeah.
No.
That's the worst.
Not touching any catfish or anything.
No.
Catfish are like
You can
completely harmless
They
if you touch
sting
their
you.
if you touch their barb.
Well, I'm not gonna.
Not their
I'm not gonna
whiskers.
risk it.
What do you think their whiskers sting you?
No. I know they have
Yes,
barbs,
you do.
Right.
One barb.
Yeah. So.
Come on, man.
And they're gross looking.
This guy.
I mean, if I catch a bass, I'll take it off the hook. Or like a bluegill.
I've always loved
I
fishing
call them
and stuff.
sunfish, but
But I started when I was young, so.
I eat
Yeah.
fish all the time.
I've never caught a fish.
Really?
Oh yeah, Chris
We're gonna have to
tried a
change
couple
that.
weeks ago.
Yeah, that was my first time actually going out and trying to fish, and
I don't like fishing. I just like catching.
yeah, it's kind of boring to me.
In the words of Mark.
To be a true fisherman, you have to love it all. So you can't just love catching. You gotta live
That's like 50% of the game.
the whole wham bam. The whole wham.
There it is. It's going with the wham bam again.
Yep.
So you like everything about EKU, Tom?
I do. It's actually, I like it a lot better than UConn.
That's sweet.
That's
That's awesome.
Like this actually ended up being like the best place I could possibly end up.
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
it's really good here.
Dude, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah.
This has
Thank
been
you for
awesome.
having me. I
It's
appreciate
been
it.
it's been awesome. Definitely to talk about everything and let everyone hear about Tom Tabor.
Pleasure.
It's been a pleasure, man.